Hello and welcome to week 2. I wanted to talk to you all just a little bit about pacing yourself in this course. It is structured very differently from most of my courses to where there's a lot of weekly content that adds up to 100 points at the end, and there's a focus each week on about the same amount of material. This is a 400 level course. There's a lot of independent reading. There's a lot of independent writing that needs to happen during this course that doesn't have the smaller grade points to it that we have in most of the courses. So working on that written assignment from the very beginning of the course is absolutely key to success in this class. The first week I gave you 16 points just for completing the introduction. It's something that is just done to show your student written work. Remember in this class that we do not use AI on any submissions. You may not use AI on your discussion post. You may not use it in the written assignment. This is because this class needs to show your critical thinking, your understanding and engagement with the material. It's not something to where using AI is going to be helpful to you in the long run. There are some times when it's absolutely appropriate to use AI to help you get started and to do things, just not in your final products for this class. So I wanted to remind you all of that one more time, that there is no use of AI in final submitted assignments in this class. And to pace yourself, be sure that you're looking at these discussion posts and treating them as larger assignments, because there aren't that many assignments in here, and these help you build the understanding that you're going to need to do the written assignment and all of the work throughout the course. So this week, when we're talking about judicial activism and restraint, go back, watch this video if you have no understanding of this, because I know there are some people who are in this course that don't have the background that others do, that haven't been through legal terminology and all in legal research and writing, the courses that lead up to this one. So you're kind of at a disadvantage. If you've not been in law and legal education, you've got to do some independent research on your own to understand where we come from. And that's why I included this crash course video, was for those of you that need to review what we mean by this. When you're drafting your posts in this class, look at each and every one of them as an individual academic paper, just a very short paper. So you're going to want to introduce the topic, you want to have a thesis statement, you're going to analyze it in the body, and then have a conclusion. You need to cite to the material in this course, what that I'm presenting to you in the textbook and in the videos. You may use outside sources that also need to be cited. You will also need to use in-text citation. Don't just put the citation at the end of the post. You've got to make sure that you're including the author's last name and the page number from where you got the information. That shows that you've got engagement with the course material and you're working through it. So when you're looking at it, go through it, answer the questions that are there. And I tried to go in and give a lot of discussion about the questions rather than say compare and contrast. I tried to give you that extra, identify the key differences and the similarities. Look at how each approach impacts the interpretation of the Constitution and the relationship between powers and the role of president in the entire legal system. So look at what the implications are that for when you're talking about an individual, when you've got an individual with rights and liberties, and how the way the judiciary's actions in interpreting the law and using activism or restraint impacts them. Remember, to get to your course textbook, you're just going to go to course materials, click that button. You're going to hit the judicial procedure course textbook. And once it opens up in the top left corner, I might need to make my box a little bit bigger. See if I can move that. Okay. There we go. So in the top left corner, you're going to click these three. It's going to give you the citation. You always need to check these citations and make sure they're proper. It's got all of the different ones here for you. You can just copy that and paste it. You also have, when you look down at the bottom, move my box again, the page number in the bottom right-hand corner. So on the top left are the three dots to where you can get your citation, and in the bottom left is where you get the page number. So go through it, look at this, make sure that you are using the information through here. Say that you wanted to use just this, African Americans were excluded. That doesn't really tell you much about it, so it's not really a good one to use, but it shows you how to use the copy function And make sure you're using the author's last name and the page number within the body of your work to show where you got it. That gives credibility and shows that you're using the textbook properly throughout the course, that you're making your answers based on the course material rather than something that could be AI generated or just a general web search. So this week when we're looking at federal and state courts, it's going to be chapters 3 and 4. There is a PowerPoint and there are flashcards. Let me see where the flashcards are. The Quizlet right here. So if you haven't requested access to that, you may do so. That's just something that I made for a class when I taught this in seat. They asked for a Quizlet, so I did put that together for them. It's not something that I've been monitoring or updating, but it is out there and it does have the basic information if you would like to use that. Here are a couple of videos that show you how someone becomes a member of a court system and how the court, what they do, how it impacts the legal community in a broader detail. This is a Kentucky Supreme Court case. If you want to see an oral argument, this was from 2022. It's an interesting case. It involves shoplifting with enhanced penalties by using self-checkout machines. That is available on pbs.org. You can see many Kentucky Supreme Court cases. The recent ones are all put out there so that you can see the oral arguments. That gets a familiarity with our state Supreme Court justices so that you can kind of see the questions that they ask, the thought process that they're using after they have read the documents the parties have supplied, after they've seen what the lower courts have done. Then they've got these questions about how they need to rule, and this gives you an idea of the types of questions that they ask in that case. There's your PowerPoint and your discussion post this week. We've already looked at it. And you also should be working on your midterm paper. Please don't wait until the end to start working on that. Get your introduction and thesis this week. That way you'll have your roadmap for the rest of the paper. Then you can begin working on the body for your midterm paper once you get that thesis and your plan. Submit it to tutor.com for feedback. You can do that by hitting the online tutoring button right here. That'll take you straight to tutor.com. All of the details for the written assignment are in this very first folder. I hope that it is. I tried to use bold. This is a different format than what I normally use, but everything that you need to know about the paper is here. You can go down and see how long it should be, a suggested structure, the format. This is very important. Make sure that you're submitting an academic paper, that you are using proper academic format throughout, in-text citations, references. You're double spacing your paper, you're tabbing over paragraphs, you've got the title page information, that it is all your own work. There is no AI generated component to it at all. It is all your work, citing to the material in the case and other sources, preferably JSTOR. It's a great resource for academic papers on this at an undergraduate level. I strongly encourage you to use JSTOR from the UC library. You need 5 sources that are all scholarly sources. That means they're peer-reviewed. They came from the UC library. They're not something that you found in a blog post. It's not something that you got from a Google search. It is something from the last 10 years. It's a peer-reviewed article, a book, an academic journal, something that is written by scholars in the field. You can always go to the Learning Commons. If it sounds like I'm speaking gibberish to you right now, go to the Learning Commons. They can help you answer these questions. They have online and in person available. And Purdue OWL also has a great web page that I often refer students to understand how to format their paper, how to do the in-text citations. All of the details on the structure and format of your paper can be there. Remember to stay in third person. Avoid I and you. When you are making a point, don't start with I believe, I feel, I think, I assume. Go to the scholarly work. Whatever scholarly journal, peer-reviewed article, book that you're citing, and use that as your evidence. Don't say, I believe. Find something scholarly that states that and use that to state your position and how you're moving forward. This is just an example of how to write a thesis. I understand that a lot of students struggle with this. You want to have your topic in there, the position that the paper is taking, and then the reasons that are going to be expanded upon in the body of the paper. So you'll have the topic, the position, the direction that you're going, and then a general overview of the supporting information that will be found in the body. And I know a lot of students like to use a concept map, so I've got one here for you that's blank to where you can fill it in if you want to use that to help you start with your paper. So this is the biggest assignment in this class, so I want you all to be getting started with that, thinking about it, and working through it. As you're working through your week 2, the federal and state courts, if you've got any questions on that after reading the chapters, please feel free to email me and I will help you in any way I can. Have a great week.